Enhance your home or business security with burglar bars or security mesh. In this video, we'll compare these two options, exploring their materials, aesthetics, installation, whether you prioritize a visible deterrent or a discrete solution, find out which might be a perfect fit for your security needs. Stay tuned for a good guide to help you make an informed decision to fortify your property against potential threats.
This is Eric, and welcome to Ghana Bakweku YouTube channel, where we document the building process for our dream home in Ghana, West Africa. We hope that you find the content we share helpful, encouraging, and hopefully educating as well.
Welcome again to the channel. I know I'm about to, tackle a very, very, very controversial topic. And I know I've mentioned it to a lot of people, and even commented on some YouTube videos. I think Ghana Bond was one of them. He was asking about whether you were a hell yes or a hell no, and I'm clearly a hell no when it comes to burglar bars. I'm going to lead this off with, I probably will come off as being a little biased because I know what I want. And I don't want burglar bars in my project, but I want you to bear me out. The reason why we have these bars in Ghana is to deter thieves. Yes, we all know that. But I believe there are better options in doing that than having these burglar bars in place. We've had cases where people have gotten trapped in fires and died, unfortunately, because there is no fire escape. That problem has been solved a lot lately, because burglar bars are now being installed with some being collapsible and some with an escape hatch. But even that kind of scares me, because imagine an upstairs building on, say, a 3-story, right, with an escape hatch for a burglar bar, right, a burglar bar window, or burglar bar window. But when you look outside the house, there is no fire escape like you see, in the U.S. and other places, right, in the West, right? There's no fire escape. So basically, you are, going to be trapped in there, or you're going to try to run downstairs and get trapped by fire, or are you going to jump from a 3-story? I don't think that's realistic, right? So I've never really liked them, but now let's talk about it in a more, comparative way. I'll be preaching to the choir here if I wanted to talk, into detail about burglar bars. But because of, the purposes of this video, let's do that. We all know what burglar bars are. We see them in Ghana, and in other parts of, the world, more typically in Africa. And I believe that, we know what they are made of, right? Sometimes, it's either metal. In Ghana, more often than not, it's aluminum. Some people use, rebar to do them. That's the material. You can see it through the window that it basically is it's there. You can see it. So for visibility, it's it provides a physical barrier so you can see it visibly. When it comes to aesthetics, it's more noticeable, which affects the curb appeal of the building. Installation, we all know about. Ventilation, depending on the type of burglar bar you use, you might block ventilation, right? And then the good thing is some of them can be customized, right? We see that all the time, right? And finally, when it comes to deterrence, of course, they're visibly deterrent, right? But my problem is that it becomes also just as it's a deterrent, it also becomes an impeding thing when it comes to providing security. I can hear you ask, so what is the alternative, Eric? All right, so here we go. On your screen, you see a profile, an aluminum profile for a window, and if you look closely, you'll see where this flashing arrow is now. You'll see that there is a mesh which is part of the profile, right? And this mesh is 304 stainless steel security mesh, and that is what I think is a good alternative a more pleasing, aesthetically pleasing alternative to Burglar bars. So just like I did for the Burglar bars, I'll spend some time, on this one to talk about a little bit about, what this material is, and how it compares to the Burglar bars. So let's jump into it. Security mesh, right? They are made from either stainless steel or aluminum. What I'm suggesting is 304 grade stainless steel mesh, and that's the material that I'm pitching here. That's what I'm considering for my project, and that's the reason why I'm pitching it. I've looked into this a lot, so hear me out, and hopefully you'll learn a thing or two from it, so you can use it, to make your decision, if you haven't gotten to that point yet. When it comes to visibility, it is less discreet. It's more discreet, right? More discreet compared to the Burglar bars, right? From afar, it looks like just a net, a mesh, right? In your building. Now, when it comes to aesthetics, because it's less obstructive, it's also more appealing to the eye. Installation, because it's new in Ghana, it will get a little tricky, but like anything in this professional installation, and ventilation, it provides better ventilation, I would say, compared to the solid bars. All right, since I've shown you some of these, I wanted to share some findings, like some of the research that I did, and some videos that I found that were really, really, eye-opening for me. So sit back and watch these. I'll come back and share some more information, after the videos. Thank you.
Into your house. To demonstrate that, I want you to move over that way, and I'm going to grab a baseball bat, and I want to show you how strong this stuff is. I want you to check this out. Are you ready? So I'm not necessarily a baseball guy, but I'm going to get Calvin. Where did Calvin go? Now, okay, Calvin, there he is. Here's a really strong guy. You remember Calvin, right? You guys have seen Calvin before. All right, Calvin, I'm going to get out of the way, but I want you to take a couple of swings at that. Show them how awesome it is. All right, here we go. Wow! One more. Does that hurt? Okay. All right, that's enough, man. Don't kill anybody. Thank you. Thank you. That's pretty cool. All right.
Not all screens are the same. Some are golf ball screens, but a golf ball screen is only going to protect you from golf balls. What you need is a security screen. And when it comes to a security screen, you need the strongest mesh you can get. What you want to look for is what's called a 12 by 12 weave. That's 12 strands per inch weave of a diameter of wire that's 0.035 inches. I know this is all technical. Believe me, you want strong wire. When some creepo is trying to bang into your house at 2 a.m. in the morning, you'll be glad that you spent a little extra money on the much stronger mesh.
Nearly 1,000 homes have been broken into during the past month here in the city of Memphis, and the crooks don't just stop at the city limits.
Home break-ins are the #1 crime across the Mid-South, and police say one of the easiest ways in is through a broken window. Well, we found a product that may make your windows unbreakable, forcing the bad guys to go somewhere else. It's a story you'll see only on 5 from Action News 5's Chief Consumer Investigator Andy Wise. Andy.
The screens are made right here in the Mid-South, and they fit right over your existing windows. And our test proves they are one heck of a barrier to a break-in.
A break-in broke down. Barely a dent.
Wow.
In the screen of steel. Security screens made by Tapco in Tupelo, Mississippi. A stainless steel on steroids.
You got 12 weaves this way and 12 weaves this way.
Rated to stand up to a natural disaster.
A Class 4 hurricane.
Say again?
Class 4 hurricane.
It's that 12 by 12 weave of this stainless steel that gives these screens their strength. Now, it's not bulletproof or bullet resistant, so it can't take a bullet, but it can sure take a beating.
We throw everything we've got at one, installed right on a Tupelo house. Now back at his house near the U of M, Aaron Reagan is watching. He's got burglar bars on his windows after a recent break-in.
Come on. What?
A crowbar punched a hole in it, but the steel's so strong,
And you give it a shot.
you can't tear it apart.
And that's pretty amazing.
Now watch this. A 2x4. Shot out of a pressure cannon 50 feet per second.
And the window itself went in about, less than a half inch or so. But look at this. The window's still intact. It didn't crack or shatter or anything.
It has a patented steel rod latch on the inside that makes it easier to open than some typical window screens.
How does emergency personnel, fire department, EMS, how do they breach these windows in order to get to someone who needs help?
Each fire truck on it has a circular saw.
Tapco designed the screens so a firefighter's rescue saw could cut through them. Good guys get in, bad guys go away.
Whether it's the next house or whether they decide maybe I shouldn't be in this business anymore.
Now, as you might imagine, Tapco's security screens don't come cheap.
He's correct in saying they don't come cheap. After watching this video, I contacted Tapco myself. And after a series of phone calls and emails and me sending them stuff for my windows that I need for the windows and other openings in the house, the sliding door, they sent me an estimate. And as you can see here, they were asking for something in the range of $26,000 to about $40-something thousand just to create the screen that I can attach, over my window, to give it the protection that I was asking for. And so it would look something like you see right now on your screen. It'll be, attached to the wall to protect the window behind it, right? And for me, that cost was just way too much. So I delved into other, spaces, and China has been my go-to place of late, and I found them using this material in their windows, and in a more aesthetically pleasing frame. Just compare this frame to what we do in Ghana. So that is what I'm pitching. That is what I'm going to try and use for my windows. I'm actually working on the estimates for my windows as we speak. I'm talking to about 4 different factories in China to see how best I can get my windows sourced out of that space. Having it come with the security mesh already incorporated in the window frame is something that is appealing to me. I think it's even more aesthetically pleasing than the overlay one that I showed you earlier from Tapco. So now with everything that we've said, I guess it'll be good to go through like a little bit of a recap or maybe considerations, right? And I think I talked about a few things like security level, aesthetics, ventilation, and then maybe we talk about budget. So for security level, I'll say both of them, can offer security effectively. But I think the design is, what makes the burglar bars a little bit more subjective. But if the security mesh is installed properly, then it's a better option compared to the burglar bars, because when you do the burglar bars, even with the regular windows, what is being put in there is that flimsy nylon mesh, which falls off. We see it in Ghana all the time. They just fall off the window frame with any little prying. You've seen in the videos here that these things don't budge when it comes to people trying to pry into it. So when it comes to security levels, I'll probably say the security mesh wins. If I'm being objective, I already mentioned in the front end that I might be, leaning a little bit, in a bias towards the security mesh because I don't want to feel imprisoned in my own house. So that covers the security level. Aesthetics, it's a no-brainer. I think the the mesh is better, because even with the burglar bars, you're gonna have a mesh anyway, right? So why not replace the mesh that you're gonna have, the nylon mesh, with a better mesh, which will then prevent you or eliminate the need for you to put in what do you call it, burglar bars, right? When it comes to ventilation and light, that is what the 304 mesh is manufactured to do. I think it gives you a more suitable option if you use the mesh than with the burglar bars, because to make your burglar bars less prone to intrusion, that means you need to form bigger grids, smaller grids with thicker materials, which means that you might be blocking ventilation even more so, right? Budget is a little tricky, as I showed in the invoices I got from TAPCO. If you go the US route, you are looking at upwards of $40,000 just to have your existing windows covered, right? But from everything that I'm seeing in the space, for my windows, if like I'm dealing with probably around $11,000 US to cover 37 windows and a sliding door. I'll go into much detail when I get to the window video once I finish dealing with the factories and production starts. But when it comes to that budget, for me, for the type of profile that I'm gonna get, the type of the security that I'm gonna get from the mesh, I think that price makes it reasonable to use the security mesh as it comes as packaged with the windows that I'm getting, right? The profiles that I'm getting, right? So I'll say ultimately the choice between burglar bars and security mesh, this is a dicey topic, but it depends on every individual, their security needs, their aesthetic preferences, and any other practical considerations that you might have. I know that there are some people who swear by burglar bars because maybe there's a scar that they can never, some traumatic event that happened because maybe they didn't have burglar bars and then thieves broke into the house. But then there's also the counter where burglar bars prevented a family from escaping, so they died in the fire. So it's a little tricky. I would say for me, burglar bars are a no. Right, I've already said that, and I stand by it. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I don't install them in my project. In the main house. But I think I've given you enough information for you to go ahead and decide what you want to do. It's up to you. But if you are interested in asking or finding more about these security meshes, just drop a comment in the comment box below, and we can delve into it some more. I think it's time for us to move away from the norm, right? This is how it's done in Ghana, and if we can find something better, why not move forward, right? As you saw in the video from the Mississippi newscast, this mesh has been around for decades, right? It's just that we don't have it in Ghana, and so it's not what a lot of people use. It's time for us to, as what Maya would say, change the narrative, right? Yeah, so thank you for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications, so when I drop new videos, you'll be one of the first to be notified. Till we meet in the next video, good luck with your building process, and let's get it done. All right, thank you.